What's up, y'all? Hope you're doing good. I am Anthony K. Thomas from Wrestling with Rumors, and this is the recap, SmackDown edition. I'm gonna do this one a little differently. I'm not gonna go over the entirety of the full 3 hour show. I'm just gonna touch on a few things very quickly. SmackDown just ended, and it ended with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. And I will get to that in a little bit, but let's start off how the show kicked off. So the show kicked off with Randy Orton as he's being serenaded to a crowd in Italy to his song. I hear voices in my head. It was great. And he gets into the ring and but before he could get a single word in, Kevin Owens' music hits, and here comes Kevin Owens to try and talk some sense into Randy Orton, try to make him understand certain things. And he said that Kevin Owens says he was wrong for attacking Randy Orton, for hitting Randy Orton with the pile driver. But he still believes that Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn deserved everything that he did to them. He doesn't believe what he did. He doesn't believe that Randy Orton deserved what he did to him. But because Randy Orton picked Cody Rhodes, is why Kevin Owens did what he did. But he said that he was sorry, and how anger can make you do things that you can regret. And Orton doesn't want to hear any of his half-hearted apology, and says that all he wants to do is kick his head off his shoulders at WrestleMania. And that's gonna happen. That is exactly what we knew what was leading towards, as it's going to be Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton's gonna have that opportunity to kick the head off of Kevin Owens' shoulders at WrestleMania. So excellent. Then we get to as I'm sitting, I'm watching SmackDown, we get a split screen. We have this split screen between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. And it's the interview. It's the classic split screen interview, to keep them separate, to keep them from putting hands on each other. Half of the time it does not work, and who's ever in the split screen, they end up going at each other. But in this instance, it worked. They were separate from each other. One of the things Charlotte Flair said to Tiffany Stratton was that she was undeserving, that she was a cash-in champion. And really all this was just adding fuel to their fire of what will be their championship match at WrestleMania. And I'm feeling more this is one of those big mountains that Tiffany Stratton might actually climb to the top of in defeating Charlotte Flair to retain her championship. At least I hope so. I mean, if Charlotte Flair wins, it won't be a surprise. But I am rooting for Charlotte Flair, no doubt. But I'm rooting more for Tiffany Stratton, because I want to see her get that big win in this big first match for her at WrestleMania. So I'm really pulling for her. We had Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. And this match was whoever wins goes on to face LA Knight next week on SmackDown for the United States Championship. And this match, we get towards the end of this match, And here comes Solo Sikoa. Here comes Tama Tonga. And the match ends in DQ, and which means Braun Strowman wins the match and will now go on to face LA Knight for the United States Championship next week on SmackDown. Get back to the backstage area. Jacob Fatu rightfully is pissed off of what happened, and with everything that he was saying, he basically was telling Solo Sikoa to stay out of his business because he cost Jacob Fatu an opportunity at the United States Championship. And this is adding fuel to that kind of fire, which feels like a Solo Sikoa Jacob Fatu match at WrestleMania is going to happen. We have to continue to watch that cook and see if that's exactly what it turns out to be. But it feels like that's where they're heading with that. That number 4 came up again, and but this time with a different, as it's leaning more into the vignette a little bit more, I'm feeling more like it is Aleister Black making his return to WWE, and that 4 is now feeling like it represents the month of March. Not March, my apologies. That 4 represents the 4th month in the year, and the 4th month in the year is April. So it feels like April, and that April is feeling more like either at WrestleMania or the night after WrestleMania, like a Raw after Mania kind of thing. But at least we know it's not a Rey Fenix, because we got a bit of a Rey Fenix vignette of him moving in the ring as he does so fast, the lightning, like a phoenix. So we know, and the mask, and the mask that was being worn, Rey Fenix. So we got that as well. So it's feeling like that number 4 is Aleister Black, because we got the Rey Fenix vignette. That's why definitely I'm leaning more towards it being Aleister Black. So Aleister Black and a Rey Fenix, that was awesome. Loved it. Then we had a Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan. Now, I'm not touching on every single match. As I stated earlier, I'm really just combing through I'm really touching on some things that really have deemed importance in some way. Anyway, so Jade Cargill versus Liv Morgan. This spawned up from last week when Jade Cargill was having an interview with the beautiful Kathy Kelly, and Liv Morgan with Raquel Rodriguez. Liv Morgan was talking, saying some things, and that led into Jade Cargill's first match back since getting hurt by Naomi. So the match goes as follows. We get towards the end of the match, and Naomi makes herself known. Naomi does what she's going to do to try to ruin this match for Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill gets a bit of her hands on Naomi, and Naomi falls down to the ring. Liv tries to capitalize on it. Didn't work the first time. Second time around, Liv Morgan, while the ref wasn't looking, was distracted with Raquel. Naomi takes one of the women tag team championships and hits Jade Cargill with it, and that's a second opportunity for Liv Morgan to capitalize on it, which she does, giving Liv Morgan the win, and then allowing Naomi to get into the ring and then continue to lay out Jade Cargill like she did, giving Naomi that moment to stand tall over Jade Cargill. And it's cooking, right? This is cooking a little bit more. WrestleMania, absolutely, this is where this is leading to. I'm looking forward for both of these women to have that moment at WrestleMania. Last year at WrestleMania, they had it was a 6-woman tag match, as it was Jade Cargill's first WrestleMania. This will be Jade Cargill's first singles match at WrestleMania against Naomi. It's funny. It's amazing what can happen within a year. So here we go. Jade Cargill, Naomi at WrestleMania. I'm feeling good about this match. Just waiting for them to make it official. Finally, we get to the end of the night, and it starts out with Roman Reigns coming out with his wise man, Paul Heyman, and he says Roman Reigns asks everyone to acknowledge him. We all do. Got the one up. And then he says Roman Reigns says that if anyone wants to confront him, please let him know. Then here comes Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins comes out, and Seth Rollins tells Roman Reigns that he made a mistake, that he doesn't know how dangerous CM Punk is, but then gets to a point in his promo where Seth Rollins realizes that it's not about Punk, that it's about Seth Rollins, and that Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins have long storied history together, and that CM Punk thinks that it's time that they add another chapter. And then here comes CM Punk. He enters, and then he enters. Crowd is going nuts. It's a big moment. It's a big moment as we get towards the end of the show, as everyone is standing up and watching everything that is happening and that is about to happen. And CM Punk doesn't enter into the ring. He stands corner of the ring, grabs a mic, and one of the things that CM Punk says once he finally is able to speak is that he thinks, first he says that neither of them have been able to actually beat CM Punk, and that he reminds Roman Reigns that the Royal Rumble was every man for himself. And then he says to Paul Heyman, then he thanks Paul Heyman for bringing his tribal chief on a silver platter. And then Roman Reigns turns and looks at Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is making those face expressions like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. And that affords CM Punk the opportunity to get into the ring, and he hits Roman Reigns with the mic, and from there, we have a brawl. And at first, it's just one ref trying to break up these guys. That's not going to happen. Eventually, as the brawl gets a little bit more thicker into it, you got more refs, you got security, and Nick Aldis comes out at one point to try and separate all these men. And at one point, as they're all standing tall, and one point during their brawl, they're all pointing towards the WrestleMania sign. First, CM Punk points to the WrestleMania sign. First CM Punk points to the WrestleMania sign. Then Seth Rollins points to the WrestleMania sign. And then before we fade out on SmackDown, Roman Reigns points to the WrestleMania sign. And they're all saying the same thing. Triple threat at WrestleMania. This is going to happen. And then we fade out on WrestleMania, as they're separating all three of them in this brawl. So, yes, there we go. Triple threat. SmackDown overall, it was a good time, and I enjoy talking to you about what I wanted to talk about in these recap episodes that I do. Did a recap for Raw, had a great time talking about getting some feelings out about going over everything that was Raw. Same thing for NXT. Same thing for AEW Dynamite, and same thing for right now for SmackDown. I have been a lifelong WWE fan since 1987, 3.5 years old, watching WrestleMania 3 for the first time, and I love being able to sit here 30 plus years later and still having that much love for WWE and loving to talk about it with all of you. So this has been the recap episode. Look out this Sunday for a new episode of Let's Talk Wrestling as I break down some of the rumors from this past week and talk about a few other things. So I will see you then on Sunday. But for now, keep your head up. Take it one day at a time. And don't forget to take care of yourselves. I'll see y'all on Sunday. Peace, y'all.